Her job application was rejected until the Mafia boss said, "Hire her now." She stared at the email for the fifth time. "We regret to inform you that your application was not successful at this time." There was again rejection in polite words. A digital door shutting in her face. Maya Blake closed her laptop, inhaling the bitterness that came with another no. She'd worked hard for her MBA, polished her resume till it gleamed, and still nothing. She wanted to believe effort meant something. But in this city, it often didn't. Her mother's voice echoed faintly in her mind. "You don't need the world approval, baby. You just need one chance." One chance. Outside, New York rain fell in slanted lines, streaking the glass like grief. The city pulsed with its usual indifference. People rushing, taxis honking, umbrellas colliding. Maya pulled her cardigan tighter and whispered, "Tomorrow will be better." It had to be. Welcome to Ken's Romance Stories, where every heartbreak leads to something unexpected, and every no hides the beginning of a love story. I'm glad you're here, wherever you're watching from. I hope your day turns out softer than you expected. You deserve good things, always. The next morning, Maya dressed with robotic precision. Her last clean blouse, gray trousers that no longer fit right. She checked her reflection, brown skin glowing despite exhaustion, curls pinned back in a neat bun, lipstick faint but present. "Let's fake confidence," she muttered. She wasn't going to mope today. She'd deliver documents for her temp agency, earn her day's pay, and keep applying. Her delivery stop was a skyscraper on Park Avenue, Falcone Enterprises. The name alone carried power. Real estate, shipping, investment banking, and rumors of something darker beneath all that polish. At the front desk, she handed a sealed envelope to security. "You can leave it here," the guard said. "It'll be delivered upstairs." She hesitated. "Could I maybe hand it to HR directly? It's from Liberty Staffing." He frowned. "HR doesn't take walk-ins." "Sorry, Mom." But fate didn't seem interested in letting her go quietly. "Hey, you with the folder." The voice came from behind her, deep, amused, commanding. She turned. A man in a charcoal suit stood near the revolving doors. Tall, sharp features, dark eyes that held the kind of authority you couldn't buy. He was flanked by two bodyguards dressed too nicely to be regular security. His presence shifted the room. Maya blinked. "Me?" "Yes, you." His eyes swept over the Liberty Staffing logo on her folder. "You here for a job?" "Not exactly. I'm just delivering." He studied her a moment longer than necessary. Something in his expression softened, then sharpened again. "What's your name?" "Maya. Maya Blake." He nodded once. "Tell HR I sent you upstairs." The guard straightened. "Mr. Falcone, sir." "Do it." His tone brooked no argument. Maya froze. Falcone? As in the Falcone? The head of the company she'd just been rejected by 2 days ago? He walked past her, scent trailing, expensive, subtle, dangerous. She whispered to herself, "What just happened?" Upstairs, the HR officer looked as confused as she felt. Maya Blake?" "Yes. Mr. Falcone told me to come up." The woman typed something, eyes narrowing. "You already applied for our financial associate opening." "I know. I got an email." "Rejected." Maya winced. "Yeah, that one." The HR woman looked like she was debating whether to scold her or salute her nerve. "Mr. Falcone told us to reopen your application." "What?" He said, and I quote, "Hire her now." Maya's mind went blank. That can't be right. The HR rep leaned back. "Apparently, it is." She slid a tablet across the desk. "Can you start tomorrow?" When Maya stepped outside again, the rain had stopped. But her heartbeat hadn't. She stood on the sidewalk, the city shimmering around her, and whispered, "What did I just walk into?" The next day, her life officially changed. Falcone Enterprises looked even more intimidating from inside. Glass walls, sculpted art, people who looked like money had raised them personally. Her new desk was on the top floor, outside the CEO's office. She'd assumed she'd be in a corner somewhere, forgotten, but no, her workstation sat directly in the line of sight of the man who'd hired her with 3 words. He walked out mid-morning, sleeves rolled, tie loosened, holding a glass of water. When he saw her, he smiled, a rare, dangerous thing. So, Miss Blake, he said, leaning slightly against her desk. Do you always get what you want? Maya swallowed, only after being rejected first. His laugh was low, unexpected. I like that answer. He extended his hand. I'm Luca Falcone. I know. Good. Then you also know I don't usually handle HR matters. I guess that, yes. Then you must also know I don't say hire her now lightly. She blushed. Why did you? He watched her with unreadable intensity. You looked like you belonged here. Before she could respond, he straightened and walked away. Days became a blur. Luca's presence loomed over everything. His office door was often open, his voice low and commanding on calls. The staff feared him, admired him, sometimes both. Maya noticed how people straightened when he passed, how silence followed him like a shadow. And yet, when he spoke to her, it was different. Soft, curious, measured. One evening, she stayed late finishing reports. The office was quiet except for the sound of the city below. Luca's door opened. You're still here. I had some numbers to finalize. He leaned on the door frame, tie undone, top button open. It's past 9, so there's the deadline. That made him smile faintly. You don't scare easily. Should I? He walked closer, his tone dropping to something quieter. Everyone else does. I'm not everyone else. He looked at her for a long moment. The kind that made her pulse skip. No, he said softly. You're not. Perfect. Here's part 2 of your full cinematic romance story. Her job application was rejected until the Mafia boss said, hire her now. Part 2. The next few weeks unfolded like a dream Maya didn't dare to wake from. Her work performance was stellar. Reports crisp, presentations precise. Luca Falcone noticed everything, though he rarely said much about it. But the glances he gave her told stories words didn't. At first, she tried to ignore them. Tried to convince herself she was imagining the weight of his gaze when she brushed past him in the hallway, or the way his voice softened when speaking her name. But one night shattered the illusion. It was raining again, the kind of slow, silver drizzle that made the city look almost beautiful. Maya was locking her computer when she heard footsteps. Still the last one out? Luca's voice came from behind her. She turned, smiling politely. Someone has to make sure your empire doesn't collapse overnight. He chuckled. Bold. You do realize most people barely speak to me that way. I'm not most people, remember? That earned her another of those rare, quiet smiles. He walked closer, stopping just a breath away. Do you know why I told HR to hire you? Her pulse quickened. Because I looked like I belonged? He shook his head. Because you didn't flinch. She frowned. What do you mean? You were in the lobby that day, surrounded by guards, noise, pressure, and you didn't shrink. Everyone does. But you just stood there steady calm. I needed that energy upstairs. Maya looked up at him. You sound like you were recruiting a soldier. In a way, he said softly. This business isn't just about numbers, Maya. It's about survival. Survival. He hesitated, as if weighing whether to say more. Let's just say Falcone Enterprises has layers. Some of them, not on paper. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Are you telling me you're? He cut her off gently. I'm telling you to trust me. That night, as she rode the elevator down, she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd just crossed an invisible line. She didn't know it then, but that line would soon draw her deep into a world she was never meant to see. A week later, chaos erupted. A rival company, rumored to be more mafia than legitimate, launched a smear campaign against Falcone Enterprises. Stocks dipped, the media buzzed, and rumors of police investigation spread. Inside the building, tension thickened. Luca was gone most days, meeting behind closed doors, his usual calm replaced with razor-sharp urgency. Maya worked tirelessly to protect their financial data, preparing reports, handling PR drafts, even shielding junior analysts from panic. When Luca finally returned to the office after 3 days of silence, he looked exhausted and dangerous. Miss Blake, he said quietly, in my office. Now. Her heart stuttered. Yes, sir. Inside, he shut the door. No guards. No staff. Just the two of them. He leaned against his desk, arms crossed. Tell me honestly, why are you still here? She blinked. Because I work here? No, his voice was rough, tired. You could have left. Everyone else is jumping ship. I can't even blame them. Because running isn't in my nature, she said simply. He studied her, eyes dark. You're either very loyal or very foolish. Maybe both. That made him laugh for the first time in days. You remind me of someone. Who? My mother, he said after a pause. She was fearless. Too fearless. It got her killed. Maya froze. I'm sorry. Don't be, he said softly. Just don't make the same mistake. 2 nights later, her apartment buzzer screamed at midnight. Maya Blake? A voice asked. Yes. Delivery. When she opened the door, no one was there, just a black box on her doormat. Inside, a velvet case and a note. Wear this tomorrow. Ed. The case held a diamond pendant. Simple, elegant, absurdly expensive. She stared at it for a long time. What kind of boss sends this to an employee? But she wore it anyway. The next morning, Luca barely glanced at her, but his eyes flicked to the necklace once, approvingly. Looks good on you, he murmured as he passed. Maybe you should stop testing HR's gift policy, she whispered back. He smirked. Fire me then. By the end of that week, the storm seemed to calm, until it didn't. Maya was heading home when 2 men approached her near the building's exit. Their suits were too sharp, their smiles too wrong. Miss Blake, one asked. Come with us. Excuse me. It's about Mr. Falcone. He asked us to bring you. But she caught it, the faint Russian accent. The same accent she'd heard in Luca's late-night calls. The rival family. She turned to run, but one grabbed her arm. Before she could scream, a black car screeched to a halt. Doors slammed. Luca's men, guns drawn. In seconds, the 2 imposters were disarmed and pinned. Luca stepped out last, coat whipping in the wind. His face was fury carved into marble. Maya, he said softly, walking toward her. Are you hurt? She shook her head, trembling. They said you sent them. I'd never let anyone touch you. His hand brushed her shoulder, just for a moment, grounding her. Then he turned to the men. You made a mistake. They didn't make another one. That night, he took her to his penthouse, top floor, panoramic view of the glittering city. I should take you somewhere safe, he said. This was my fault. Your fault. You're in this because of me. I was in this the moment you said, hire her now, she replied quietly. He looked at her then, really looked. You're not afraid of me? She took a deep breath. Should I be? I run things most people pretend don't exist. Then stop pretending I can't handle it. He exhaled, half in awe, half in warning. You're impossible. Good. They talked until dawn. About ambition, family, the fine line between survival and sin. He told her things he'd never told anyone. How he'd inherited the empire after his brother's death. How power and danger had become inseparable. When he finally fell silent, she said softly, You don't have to carry it alone. Something in him broke then. He reached for her hand. If I keep you close, Maya, you'll never be free of me. Maybe I don't want to be, she whispered. The first kiss was inevitable. It wasn't sweet. It was desperate, restrained, full of everything unsaid. A man used to control, losing it for once. A woman who'd finally been seen. When they pulled apart, both breathless, he said hoarsely, If this costs me everything, it'll still be worth it. For a few blissful weeks, the world felt suspended. She worked by day, dined with him by night. The city blurred into lights and champagne and stolen glances across marble halls. But nothing that perfect lasts. The rival family retaliated, leaked false financial data to the press, accusing Maya of espionage. Overnight, her name trended. Falcone's mistress, inside agent, traitor. She sat frozen in the break room, phone buzzing with hate. Lucas stormed in minutes later. Don't say a word, he growled to the staff. Then, to her, come with me. In his office, she broke. They think I'm sleeping with you for power. He cupped her face. They think because they're afraid of what you actually are. And what's that? My equal. The scandal burned for days. But Luca fought it head-on, publicly, fiercely. He stood in front of cameras and said the words that silenced everyone. Miss Blake is under my personal protection. She works for me, yes, but more than that, she's earned my trust, and I don't give that lightly. The headlines shifted overnight. Falcone defends employee. Power couple rumor swirl. Maya wanted to laugh and cry all at once. Weeks later, the chaos finally quieted. Falcon Enterprises was stronger than ever. One night, after a late board meeting, Luca asked her to join him on the rooftop. The city sprawled below, endless lights flickering like distant stars. He handed her a folder. "What's this?" "Your promotion." She blinked. "To what?" "Chief Financial Officer." Her jaw dropped. "That's impossible." "Not for you." She stared at the letter, then up at him. "Why me?" "Because you've been saving my empire since the day you walked through that door. And because you like me," she teased. He smiled, the rare, genuine kind that softened his entire face. "That too." Thunder rumbled in the distance. He took her hands. "Maya," he said, voice low, "you changed everything. I used to think power meant control. Then you walked in, and I realized power is choosing who you'd burn the world for." She laughed softly. "That sounds dangerous." "It is, but so are you." And then he kissed her again, slow, certain, under the lightning sky. A year later, Maya stood beside him at a charity gala. She wore a crimson gown that shimmered like confidence itself. Someone whispered, "Is that the same girl he hired out of nowhere?" Luca heard it and smiled. "No," he murmured, slipping his arm around her waist. "That's the woman who saved me." Thank you for watching Ken's Romance Stories, where every rejection hides a redirection, and every broken door leads to something beautiful. If you love this story, drop a comment and tell us what kind of love you'd risk it all for. Until next time, I'm wishing you peace, warmth, and the kind of love that finds you when you least.